it's growing, but it's not where it should be. So let's start with athletes that are in sport. How do you propose they get help and they get the support psychologically, mentally that they need, so that way they can achieve the success that they want on the field?
Yeah, so in sport, I think it's becoming a little bit more prevalent now. Like I think people are understanding, like, if you are going to go to the gym, or you're going to work on the field, or you're going to work on, I don't know, rugby, like you're passing, you're kicking, like all of this stuff is like, well, if you're going to crumble when a bit of pressure comes on, or if you're going to not deal with setbacks well, which that's just what sport is, it's like constant ups and downs, then you're probably going to be inhibiting your performance. So I think it is coming in a little bit more, and certainly in the elite sort of level. But I think even then is like it's inaccessible. It's kind of a big driver of why we built Tackling Transition. This course is because what do you even Google to get interested in this? Like, oh, I'm feeling this thing. What is it? How do you find that? Like, it's really, really hard. So yeah, I think within sport there's massive hurdles as well.
That's a really good point. And like, how did you try doing it yourself? What did you find? How did it kind of lead you down
Well, I
that
didn't
rabbit
do
hole?
anything in my career. This is the whole thing. It's like, I think people just learn, don't they? They just learn to get through hardship, or they learn how to optimize their own performance from a psychological state. You begin, just the older you get and the more experienced you become, the more you understand yourself. And I think it's just a natural way for people to get better and better. So, but yeah, other than that, unless you've got loads and loads of money, or and someone's paying for you to get the provision through your club or through your organisation, I think it's really, really hard. And I think you don't get taught this stuff. You'll all get taught form on how to bench or how to squat or whatever, but you don't get taught, I don't know, like what to look up to understand like how you feel about something, or to how to recover from a setback or something. You just, the only way you can learn it is through experience, and I think that's a good thing because you get the experience, but also what can you do to be proactive on that as well? Because it's like the Mike Tyson thing, isn't it? It's like everyone's got a plan to get punched in the face. Like, don't wait till you get punched in the face, basically. Yeah.
Do you think that there's, been anything just growing with the trends? Like, you say you're over in UK. Did you do any studying for the sports over here, or is everything just kind of tailored to rugby, or, how do you see it branching off in the
Yeah,
future?
so we built the course, like, it's very much like from a rugby standpoint. So the course basically consists of 7 modules. So we break down what's going to happen to any athlete transitioning out of sport. And in each of those modules, there's a discussion, so a half-hour discussion between me and my sister. So the other person on the course, my sister, who's a clinical psychologist, who's done lots of work with military veterans, with people with sort of life-changing injuries and things like that. And there's a discussion between her and myself where I kind of frame the challenge with each of these ideas, with each of these modules. And then in the course, we kind of get into more like one-to-one exercises with Nicola. So she'll then do a guided exercise that teaches somebody how to approach their own thinking around a topic. But all of those big kind of episodes, I guess, they're all, they all come from a rugby standpoint. So there's a lens to it, but equally, I've had interest from football, like from soccer, I guess in your language, soccer, like right through to like ballerinas. Like it's like it
Oh,
really is
wow.
like applicable to anything, because the concepts involved are they're not specific to just rugby. So the 7 things we talk about are inevitability. So the fact that your career is going to end at some point, like nobody plays forever. Loss is the second module. So you're essentially going to grieve in psychology language, but you're going to lose something when you retire. Third module is all about purpose and identity, so who you are versus what you do, and kind of why you get out of bed in the morning, because that changes when you leave a sporting career. Community, so often in team sports or even in individual sports, you have a group of people around you that facilitate you being able to do what you do. Structure is the 5th one, so you are going to have a very structured life as a professional athlete. So I remember with mine, it was, you're told what to eat, when, where to be, when to sleep, everything. And obviously, if you were to transition very quickly, that gets ripped away, which is really damaging. The 6th one is self-sufficiency, so how you can look after yourself having removed yourself from those environments. And then the seventh one is all about balance. So it's just looking at, it kind of brings the whole course together and says, like, how do you get the balance between the rest of your life and what you used to do, and how do those things interplay? And that's that's basically the outline of the course. So those things are just generic ideas, but we try and bring them to life for any athlete, whether they're team sport, individual sport, top of the elite of the elite, or like I was like a second tier rugby player basically. But second rate's a better way to describe it. But yeah, never made the big time. But it's equally, how do you be all in, but not all in? It's a really interesting sort of conundrum. So yeah.
No, that sounds like it's something that, like you said, every athlete should be doing. Like, there's no reason why, if you're an athlete, you're not doing it. You mentioned your sister, and off air you said that she was a psychologist, psychiatrist. I don't know the difference between the two, but she's a professional working with essentially the brain. Talk about how that balance between having her and then your background in sport are able to kind of ping pong and bounce off each other to make this course even better.
It's a good question. I mean, I always said, like, she just brings all the credibility to it. That's what I said. Because I never made it. I'm just like I'm a nobody, like, in a sporting sense. But I've kind of used all of the lessons from sport that I learned, both how to be managed and how I was managed and what I liked and didn't like, and how my performance was monitored and improved or not. And I just use all of that to inform how I run my business now. And so I'm kind of coming at it from, well, I'm past the transition and I'm now into my second life. And so that's really all I can do, is provide a bit of context with what athletes might be experiencing. And then what Nicola's able to do is then take that information and then just transform it into, okay, well, here's what that means, like, medically, clinically, that's what's going on with you. And I think that what she's really good at is just reframing a real life problem into a theory and saying, that's how you think about it. And also, so much of it is like what to Google. So like, we're really keen on, in every video, we'll highlight the key things to go and, like, if you need to go and like look up like compassion focused therapy to help you deal with certain bits of it, you wouldn't ever, have you ever heard of that before? Like, I hadn't before she said it, and it sounds a bit wishy-washy, but it isn't. But it's that kind of trying to make it way more accessible. I think that's where she comes in. And then, in the guided exercises, she's just, a consummate professional. So she's essentially running a one-to-one therapy session that would, cost you, I don't know.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.